Okay, we did the soak skills last time. I've had some thoughts. I talked about the Tormentor and how it should be like some kind of damage link between you and the pet, but I think that would be too weird. And Poly could be abused in many ways if it's like 50% damage reduction or something. I think what they should do with Tormentor is it should be, like first of all, the damage part of Tormentor should be, it should just be like doing the full damage that it does when you activate it at all times. You shouldn't need to click the ability for the pet to do more damage. I think that should be just baked in, basically. And I think Tormentor, when you click the ability, it should put a chain on the target. And if that target hits something else than the Tormentor, they take like, let's say 30% of the damage they deal. That number could probably be higher, it could be like 50%, there could be a cap of 10k kind of like with Oblivion damage. But I think it should put that chain on the target and just punish the target if they attack something. That could be interesting. It would be a very RP as well, because Twilight Tormentor, right? So it's tormenting you. I think that'd be cool. Just buffs and make the activate more interesting. Just a click and this pet does more damage is not very interesting. Hey Anoxero, how you doing? Increase size so that it's harder to hit people. Probably won't matter much with highlight mechanic though. Oh, no, it does like that target in ESO is terrible, but I don't think that would be fun to make it bigger. Like that doesn't really improve it in a good way. But yeah, some kind of chain link to the target, then they would be like encouraged to focus the bird in order to not take damage when they deal damage. That'd be cool, I think. But yeah, let's begin with the Nightblade skills. Ambush. Where would I rank Ambush? I don't think it's higher than B tier. Lotus Fan would probably be A tier, with the contingency bomb builds especially. Ambush, that's the worst move. Still alright, gives you minor berserk, but you usually have minor berserk from Monomyth. Or from Warmask as well nowadays. Or from Eric's passive. You lose out on the AoE dot and the minor vulnerability. Oh no, you don't lose out on the minor vulnerability, it's just not AoE. Yeah, I don't think Ambush is too great. Maybe like around like Flame last tier probably. Some case where you might want to use it over Lotus Fan, but not many to be honest. Is it even B tier? Maybe like high C tier? Because Lotus Fan is so much better than Ambush. What would I do with Ambush? I think Ambush, and this might be controversial, I think Ambush should put you invisible for 1.5 seconds after you arrive to where you get close. It's an invis class, you're playing Nightblade. Yet there's very little invis on the class nowadays. The only invis is Shadowy Disguise. And the synergy from Veil of Blades. I think you should go invis after you cast this. This would make it better in PvE as well, although you probably won't want to run Ambush. Because there would also be the passive that increases your damage done by 10%. When you go invis. That's a PvE passive that's on the Shadowy Disguise, but I think it would be thematic and would make this morph a lot more interesting. If you could cap close and be invisible, and that would give you like a window to Tether, for example, at the cost of damage, because you lose the damage over time. They can remove the minor berserk to balance it out, for example, but that would be interesting, I think. The unmorphed one, Concealed Weapon, is still a good spammable. I don't think it's as good as Surprise Attack, but it's still... I think as a spammable, it's still S tier. It's very close to Surprise Attack. Spoiler, we're gonna have like 3 spammables here. In S tier. It's either like high A tier or low S tier. Gives you off balance really good base tooltip, minor expedition for being slotted. Dimension really good damage. It is tied to Invis, so that would be another way to make it a little bit more viable as well compared to Surprise Tech. If Ambush gave you a little bit of Invis, you would get the damage buff for Concealed with that. And yes, this would be an Assassination buff, but it's gonna make sense. It's gonna make sense, because there's a lot of things they should nerf in Assassination. Impale. Impale is terrible. It's worse than NS Fury and Mage's Sweat. Mage's Sweat is C tier. I think it's... Impale is like... It's not like low D tier, but it's bad. It's bad because you need your target to be 25% for it to do anything, like any decent damage. It doesn't have the typical execute scaling. It also has travel time, can be dodge sold. Usually when you impale, your target already healed up in today's meta. It's not really that usable. I don't know how they would fix that. Because I get that they wanted to have a different design than Blade and Executioner and Beam and all of these that start scaling a lot higher. They could maybe fix it by making the travel time faster. Just make it instant. When you click the ability, it does damage. No travel time, no dodging. Just if you click the ability, instant damage. Then it would feel good at least, but not a big fan of this. Very often, if you play a range build especially, you get someone low health if you're using Impale and they start rolling, like you click the ability and they roll after, it's still gonna be rolled. And they just dodge all heal and get back to full. So yeah, I think definitely should have a faster hit registration and what else? They could make it unblockable. Okay, so if Impale was unblockable as well, I think now we're talking. That would be a very good change. If it had faster travel time, and you drop someone to 25% and they think like, okay, I'm gonna block, but you have this one skill that counters it, I think that would be fair. It's still gonna be bad most of the time, but if you really hate people who are blocking at low health, you could have a really good counter to it. Why not? Name is Impale as well. You impale to the block, right? Thematic. Makes sense. Would be a good sense. Incap. Incap, I think, is an S tier ulti. But how S tier? Usually if I have both Energy Overload and Incap, I find myself using more Energy Overload. Because you can kill people without Incap. Just Energy Overload into bow proc, for example. But it's still S tier. I would say probably around... it's way more popular than Negate. They're good in different situations. I would say probably here as a single target burst ultimate. Still used by every Nightblade in dueling, for example. Killer's Blade, I think, is the best execute in the game at the moment. I'm gonna rank it S tier. But low S tier, because it's not like you need to run it or like on every build, but as an execute I think it's S tier. After the beam nerf especially, and the nerf to Mage's Sweat, although even without the nerf I don't think it would be up here. But yeah, it's just a better executioner basically. Lotus Fan, one of the best skills for a bomber right now. Because you can contingency into Lotus. Contingency goes off after the Lotus Fan lands. So you can like preload your bomb before actually bombing. So if Ambush is C tier, this is probably like around here with the... it's better than Chain Pull, I'd say. Chains of Devastation also. On the same level though. I would put it here just because of the contingency interaction. AoE minor villain as well. Good dot damage after you land it. It is dodgeable and blockable. DK Gaplosa is not. dodgeable, gives you major berserk as well, but you cannot do the Rush of Agony Conti combination with that. Merciless, everyone's favorite ability. Just the strongest burst skill in the game. It's like top 8 tier. It's poly here. I would still say like Ball of Lightning Streak probably overall provide more value to people than Merciless, but absolutely broken. Absolutely broken. I think this is one of the most overtuned abilities, and I don't think they could make it 1 stack again. I don't see the point of 2 stacks. Just why? Make it 1 stack. Just back to what it was. No one wanted 2 stacks. Especially Nightblade mains like myself. No one wanted 2 stacks. And rest of this ability is going to be balanced if they balance the passives. I think. If they add better like crit resistance to defensive skill lines and better defensive passives and all of that, I think bow proc is fine after that. But right now it's not fine. You see bow proc, like everyone's running bow proc. Your health disappeared, chances are you just got hit by a bow proc while you were fighting 5 other people. It's infuriating, it's annoying. It's just not a fun ability to fight against, it's not a fun ability to use. Because everyone else is using it. Not a big fan of the ability. I think, actually, you know what? They should not make it 5 stacks. I think they should keep it 10 stacks, but 10 stacks is when you get the full charge. At 5 stacks you could have a bow proc, but it would do less damage. Kind of like Sharks. Like the first hit of Sharks is less damage and the second hit is more damage. They could do the same with bow proc, so you build stacks and at 5, after 5 you can use it. But at like 2/3 of the power, for example. And 10 stacks, then you can use that max power. I think that would be even better. Just nerf it like that. And then buff the defensive passives. But yeah, otherwise I would not change the ability. It's just too strong right now. Piercing Mark is not super amazing. I still run it on my Nightblade, because I don't run destruction stuff. It's one of the few ways to apply major breach without ice stuff. So we are not gonna put it D tier due to that. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it's a good ability. It does counter Cloak to some degree if you happen to see the Nightblade before that. But honestly, this skill should be free to cast, like LSS. It should be free to cast, and it should have major breach and some unique armor debuff. That won't affect PvE. Because you're already reaching penetration cap usually in PvE. Via item sets and whatnot. It's called Piercing Mark after all, like it should have a little bit more piercing than LSS, right? Maybe it's like low B tier right now, but it should be better. It should be free, like LSS at the very least. Like it used to be. It used to be free. But yeah. Very disappointing ability. The Reaper's Mark, on the other hand, this one is even worse. It doesn't have the anti-Nightblade counter, lasts for less time. You get major brutality. No, not brutality, berserk if you kill the target. So it does have that offensive power going for it, but it's very conditional. You have to actually get the kill on the target and then you have to be in a position to make use of it. Which is not always, or even often going to be the case. You get more value out of the duration and the anti-invis most of the time. So for that reason I'd probably put Reaper's Mark C tier. What would I do with it? The design is kind of boring, I think. You heal with both Piercing Mark and Reaper's Mark. I think the heal is stronger on Reaper's Mark, but it's not really that impactful. Like you already heal enough with Piercing. Mark should be free, or LSS should cost Magicka. How about both? But I don't mind if they leave LSS as it is. They do need to buff the alternatives though. Apart from Noxus, I think Noxus is fine. Boproc sound Q is also pretty vague. Yes, they could increase the sound Q for it. Relentless Focus is the stamina morph. Less damage than Merciless. I think it's like about the same as Bound Armaments, power-wise. Less bursty, but you need only 4 stacks to fire the bow. I think similar to Merciless, just could nerf that. The first hit weaker and then... Or they can keep Relentless as it is too. And like have Merciless be the big burst skill, but you need to build up to 5 stacks, or 10 stacks. And then Relentless could be more damage on at like 4 stacks and 8 stacks. I think that would be fine. Bring them a little bit closer together. Soul Harvest, this one is sometimes the better morph. Usually you go Incap, but would still rank Soul Harvest. Maybe Soul Harvest is A tier. So you have less duration on the plus 20% damage, but you get the major defile from it. Which doesn't really matter in the current meta, because you just one-shot people anyway. Major defile is not that important on builds like this. But still, high A tier I would say. Also gives you ulti for being slotted. Stupid. Surprise Tech, my favorite spammable in the game. I think Surprise Tech is fine. Where would I rank it? I have to rank it above, like, Flames of Oblivion and whatnot. Probably over here. Maybe Concealed and Killspade go to A tier, actually. Now that I'm looking at this. Probably something like this. Yeah, I won't say Surprise Tech. I like the ability. The off balance on it is nice, you can combo with it in various different ways. Or you can just use bow proc, you know, you don't need to even use it. It's just one shot you target, why would you use your class abilities at all? Anyway, slightly tilted by current balance. Let's move on. I think that's all of the Assassination, yep. Is their skill line, by the way. Very, very broken right now. Multiple good abilities. Bow proc, Surprise Tech, Incap, Concealed, Killer's Blade, Soul Harvest. Even the Stem Morph. Lotus for the bomb builds. Good crit passives and crit damage passive. Shadow. Okay, we go from S tier to C tier or D tier. This skill line is terrible right now. Could use a lot of buffs. Oh boy, we get to start with the best one. So this one is just an AoE that snares people by 70%. And you get a major protection inside of it. That's all it does. That's your 200 cost ultimate. Major protection and a snare in like 6 meter radius. Needless to say, that's fucking awful. F tier. Definitely F tier. Possibly the worst ultimate in the game. I'm trying to think if there's something worse. I can't think of anything. Yeah, snare, like, it used Race Against Time or Bird of Prey, you don't have a snare anymore. Or just move out of it, it doesn't even linger on the target, I believe. But yeah, definitely an ultimate that's in need of a rebalance. I think on Vengeance they did this a lot better, and this ability is when you cast it, it's an AoE invis for your team for a couple of seconds, but I think they could do it even better. They could make it an area that gives invisibility every 1 second during the duration, and the invis lasts for like 3 seconds or 4 seconds. But it gives invis to anyone in the area. It would be like a invis field that your team could use or you could use to survive. I think that would be really cool, and they could reduce the cost, like 200 is way too much. Something like that. They could reduce the cost on this morph, and we'll get to the other one, but... Yeah, this one I think just AoE Invis and reduce cost would be cool. I think Guild Wars 2 has something like that on Thief, right? As a similar ability, where you have like Invis within an area. It's a cool concept, but right now it's just terrible. Definitely needs buffs. Dark Cloak, this was good. It was good. It was good. Then they decided, oh, let's reduce the duration from 5 seconds to 3 seconds, which is a massive nerf. I think it's a D tier ability, or maybe very close to F tier. It's very close to F. It might be F tier now, actually. Can we put it in the company of Volatile Familiar, Obsidian Shard, Choking Talons, Fragmented Shield, and so on? At the very least, it's low D tier. But yeah, they should... I don't think there was anything wrong with the old design. It's a heal over time based on max health. And if you stand still, previously, if you stood still, the heal would get plus 150%. 5 second duration. They changed that. When you block, you get the heal, so you can move and get the full heal, but it lasts only 3 seconds. Why only 3 seconds? You just like 40% nerf the ability. For a heal that's gonna stop being good value the moment you get an unblockable CC. Like, I get why they changed the design for PvE reasons, right? But this should still be 5 second duration. Just full stop. It should be 5 second duration, and then it would still be B tier probably. Yeah, just revert the duration nerf. And I think Dark Cloak is a good alternative for those who want to play Nightblade without the Invis being the centerpiece of the playstyle. Manifestation of Terror, this is the Trap Fear, I think another... maybe it's like low C tier. You can use this, you can like camp the rune and... it's pretty decent. It used to be 2 traps, so you get 2 CCs per cast, now it's only 1. I think they should bring back the targeted trap at the location and 1 trap where you cast it from. Well, double the value out of the ability basically. But now it's like C tier. I would probably run it not over Talons, but over Wings if I had some weird build where I had to choose. But yeah, they just bring back the double trap concept. Mass Hysteria, this is better than the Trap Fear because you also get Major Cowardice. It's a bit more like this. There's less travel time because this trap has travel and arming time, I think. This one you can just click and dodge the fear, or usually not because the radius is too small. So I'd say low B tier for Mass Hysteria. They should increase the radius. That would make it immediately a lot better. Right now I think it's 5 meters or 6 meters. Should be 7 or 8. Yeah. Darkshade. I think Darkshade is probably as an ability. It's a decent dot. Minor Maim is just whatever. But it gets pretty good numbers in CMX. It's probably C tier. I don't want to put it B tier. Like around here, probably. Tried it quite a bit, but I think what Darkshade should do, you should be able to teleport to it, like you can to do Shadow Image. You should be able to just cast it, and if it runs to the target, you should be able to click and teleport to it. That would be cool. Mirage. Mirage is good. Because you have to remember that's also Major Resolve. Major Resolve, Major Evasion from passives, I mean. Major Evasion, Minor Resolve. But is Phantasmal Escape better? It probably is. If Phantasmal Escape is A tier, this is probably B tier. It's a better armor buff than Hardened, I think. If you use it as armor buff. It's like major evasion versus the damage shield. And damage return as well though. Plus dodge roll cost reduction if you take direct damage. It's kinda close to Hardened, I think. They're both terrible skill lines. But I would say probably B tier, and would I change it? No, I think it's fine as an ability. Actually, you know what? I would change it. I would change it a little bit. I think Mirage, they should make the this ability and the other one, instead of reducing dodge roll cost, it should give you a free dodge roll. So you don't have to actually dodge roll, but once you reach like every 10th direct damage, you would automatically dodge roll the next attack. I think that would be a lot more interesting than the current design. Or maybe they could buff it even, like not 10 stacks, but every 5 stacks or 6 stacks or something like that. 8. Go find a good number. At least one of the morphs should do that. This is the unmorphed one, Battle of Darkness. Phantasmal Escape. Now this is the automorph. Can act as a snare and root removal. Can act as the major evasion, major resolve, the dodge cost reduction. It saves a lot of bar space if you run Shadow and this skill. So I think it's like low A tier due to that. Don't want to put it higher because there are of course there's gonna be Rune, right? I don't think it's better than Hurricane because no damage. Yeah, Refreshing Bat is pretty decent. Gives you the regions, minor regions, heals, and expedition. But would I put it A tier? No, I think it's probably B tier ability. Accounting curse power overload, but maybe around here. Better than Hardened. Around same as Mirage. Would I change this ability? Not necessarily. I think it's probably fine as it is. Oof. Oh wait, no, we have Shadowy Match still. Gonna rage bait some people soon. Can't wait. Shadow Match, I think I think B tier as well. They're probably around here. It's nice, like sometimes you can disengage with Shadow Match, but that means that you leave your teammates alone and it doesn't really get rid of dots on you. Very often where you Shadow Match back to, there's people there, you're usually better off just running Shriek or lots of move speed. So kind of like wasting a bar space for an escape that might or might not work. Not a huge fan of it. It's not terrible, like you can make good plays with it sometimes, but not like the biggest fan of Shadow Match. And I don't know how they could increase the damage of the archer. They could maybe make it heal when you cast it, so you don't just die to dodge right after. Or apply some heal over time, maybe cleanse when you bot back to it. There's some ideas that could make it maybe A tier or S tier even, but... Okay, now the rage bait part. Shadowy Disguise. Where would I rank Cloak? I'm a Nightblade main. Full disclosure. It's my main class. I always play Invis or Assassin, Thief, whatever classes in MMOs and RPGs in general. Big fan of stealth playstyles. Where would I rank Cloak right now in ESO? I would rank it also B tier, but I would rank it above Shadowy Match. Yes, I know, there's a lot of annoying Nightblades that cloak and run away from you but that's all they can do. This ability is not used on most builds nowadays. So you can use Streak, which is way better for survivability than Cloak. This ability has become incredibly clunky recently. It's very hard to sustain. It just drains all of your magicka basically. And I've talked about Cloak a lot. A lot. S tier for 0, no. No, it's not, because there's gonna be that one guy with Deathpot, and then you die. Gonna be one guy with Deathpot and Streak. Or there's just gonna be someone heavy attacking you with Lightning Heavy and your Cloak doesn't work, and then you die. And the reason why Cloak builds work in Cyrodiil is Streak. Because you run both Streak and Cloak. If you run only Cloak, then that build is not gonna do better than most builds. Cost and duration, a bit, yeah. So the main issue with Cloak is the clunkiness, is the cost of the ability. And how I would change that is not like what they did in Vengeance, which is just dumb, where you heal when you Cloak and it's like super easy to sustain there. I think that's overkill, you don't need that. What I would do with Cloak is instead of having a huge stick of magic every 2 seconds, after you cast Cloak, after you go Invis, I would have Cloak be like Sneak. Because why not? When you cast Cloak, anytime you move while invisible, it would drain your magicka. You can stop the mag regen, like you stop stam regen while sneaking, but it shouldn't be every 2 seconds just boom, your magicka's gone. Where you create this weird gameplay where you wanna stop every 2 seconds right before you get the tick, so you min-max the sustain while cloaking. It creates this weird mini game that just feels very unnatural and annoying. And it forces you to do things like Asylum Sword on board to turn the magic stamina into magicka, or you spam in Siphoning, which you can't really do if you have any dots on you. Like, it creates very annoying gameplay at the moment. So I think they should tune down the cost of Cloak and make it be more gradual, like sneaking. That way I think you'd have a lot more fun to use ability with Shadowy Disguise. Because right now it's not it. It's not it. It's just too clunky. What else would I change on Cloak? I think that's about it. You could add some item sets that synergize with it. You could add some passives on Nightblade that synergize with Invis in general. And like adding Invis to Ambush, you could add it to some other stuff as well. But I wouldn't change Cloak itself more than make it less clunky and weird to use. And yes, I know there's a lot of people who hate the Nightblades and their Invis and don't want to see it buffed, but just from like power point of view, it's not very strong right now. That's about it. And Shadow as a skill line is not strong, it's kinda bad. It's kinda very bad. Twisting Path, this is the damage morph of Path, and it's definitely worse than the healing one. I would say it's probably D tier. The reason you run the healing one is because you wanna disengage, you cast the Refreshing Path, you get heals as you run away with the Major Expedition. This one you don't get heals, your opponents don't really care about some small damage coming to them while you're disengaging and not dealing damage to them. Twisting Path is just very meh. I wouldn't even rank it this high in D tier actually. Would I even rank it D tier? Or is it just F tier? No, I think it's like here. Kinda low D tier. How would I change it? I would increase the damage a lot. Maybe add a snare to it as well. Or increase the radius and add a snare. Something like that, if they want to keep it different from Refreshing Path. Veil of Blades, okay, so similar to Bolstering Darkness, it's not a lot better, it's a little bit better, it does damage at least, but damage is kinda meh. So similar to Bolstering Darkness, I think what they should do with Veil of Blades is just make everyone invis inside the area. Every 1 second, like 2 second duration, 3 second duration, whatever feels balanced. And this one could keep the damage in the area as well. So you'd have cost reduction on bolstering, so you can do it more often. And Veil of Blades would allow the like it would do damage in the area, so people don't want to go in there and AoE. That could be interesting. But yeah, it needs to give invis in the area. That would make it good, I think. Or maybe not even good, but interesting. Right now it's not interesting. So that's Shadow. It's probably the skill line in the most need of buffs on Nightblade. Because I think Siphoning is pretty strong, especially with Soul Cleaver. We start with Crippling Grasp. I think it's a B-tier ability. B-tier ability. It's gonna be better than Burning Embers for sure. This route has some direct damage and 30% snare. I'd probably rank it here. You definitely want to be running Soul Cleaver if you run Crippling Grasp or the other move. Maybe a bit lower. Because the other move is better. No, I would still rank it here, I think. Or would I? Probably here. Would I change it? It kind of requires you to run Soul Cleaver to be good. To be worth running. I think the damage should be just higher on Crippling Grasp. Both on the direct damage part and on the dot part. Simple as that. Or if they want to make it a different vibe of an ability to all of the dots that already exist, they could increase the snare strength on this one and on the other move. So this could be 50%. And the other move could be 70% then. This is what we're gonna get to next. The other move is more dot damage, because you get the higher chance of overcharge proc. And the snare is a lot stronger. It's one of the strongest snares in the game at the moment. Debilitate. But it could be even stronger. Like they could make it 70%. And this one 50% but has a root on the cast. So right now the problem with Crippling Grasp in particular is that you have a billion other snares that are just as strong. They kinda override it, or you override those dots with Crippling Grasp and you don't really gain anything. Just a dot usually most of the time. And a root. If you land it, it's dodgeable. But if it was 50% it would bring something unique. And if Debilitate was 70% it would bring something even more unique, right? So I think that could be interesting, because the idea is clearly to just debilitate your opponent, right? Or Crippling Grasp, just cripple them, root them, snare them afterwards. Healthy Offering. Healthy Offering, S tier. Strongest burst heal in the game. Besides like Werewolf burst heal, but that's very expensive. And Werewolf. Where would I rank it? I would rank it above Cauterize. I would just put it probably pretty high here. Like here. Shrewd Offering is gonna be also up here. It kinda depends if you have Restore and Light, you already have Minor Mending, you don't run Healthy Offering, otherwise you run Healthy Offering. But this heal is giga strong, very sustainable, super cheap. And very strong, especially with Soul Cleaver, but even without Soul Cleaver. Very strong ability. Would I change it? No. I think it's absolutely fine. Funnel Health is the... oh wait, is this the unmorphed? So you have Soul? No, this is the morphed one. Wait, what's the unmorphed one then? Oh, it's Strife. Right. Funnel Health is terrible. How terrible. I don't think it's C tier, I think it's D tier. Or is it even... I mean... I've tried it on the Nightblade healer, but it rarely gets good value. Because you need to hit your targets. It's one of those heals that are dodgeable. It's probably the same as... it's a little bit better than Obsidian Shard, I think. It's a heal over time. It's not like you need the burst heal and then someone dodges and someone dies because opponent dodge sold. Or stuff like that. So I think it's a little bit better, but Maybe like low D tier, like around here, something like that. They should, for this to be worth... I think this should be... what if this was like ground targeted AoE? Would do a little bit of damage, but you would always heal. Like there would be some like ghosts flying to your teammates from the ground AoE and they would get the heal over time. Because the problem is the dodgeability, that's the main issue. It's very weird as well, because it's based on damage done. As a healer you don't really want to have that. It's the healer morph, the other one does more damage. It's a weird ability. They could just buff the numbers too, like buff the healing number, buff the... or reduce the cost, stuff like that. Leeching Strikes. I think Siphoning Strikes is gonna be S tier. Leeching Strikes probably just high A tier. It kinda depends on build, sometimes you want to run Leeching. So it's not gonna be like garbage tier. Where would I put it? Probably like around Dark Conversion, right? Sometimes you want to run Dark Conversion, but usually Dark Deal. Sometimes you want to run Leeching Strikes, but usually Siphoning. I won't change it, I think Leeching Strikes is fine. Maybe they could reduce the cost a little bit when you use it, the active part of it, but it's not a big deal. Power Extraction I think is a good ability, especially with Soul Cleaver. It's very good. Actually has 8 meter radius on the area. It does good damage with Soul Cleaver, it's like spammable basically. It's not gonna be S tier, but I would put in A tier probably. It's probably around here with Molten Whip. Siphoning Attacks. Oh wait. Shrewd Offering first. Shrewd Offering, and I think we have Sap Essence as well, but Shrewd Offering definitely S tier. Again, like if you have Restoring Light, then you run Shrewd Offering, and if not, then you run Healthy Offering. But Giga Skill. Wouldn't change it. It's even cheaper than Healthy Offering. We'll just never run out of resources, especially with Soul Cleaver. Sap Essence, on the other hand, less damage than Power Extraction, costs Magicka, so you can't rotate Power Extraction and Swallow Soul, for example, if you play a Soul Cleaver build. Usually you need Magicka more than Stamina. It's a good stam dump. It does less. The Sap Essence. There's also no minor cowardice. It heals you, but the heal is kind of whatever. But it's probably... I just haven't used it personally that much, but I think it's probably still like low B tier if you run Soul Cleaver. But Power Extraction is the better move. Like, I don't run Ambush either, but... But the Ambush Lotus Fan difference is pretty big here though. Maybe this is C tier. Put it like there. Oh, actually Draw Essence is kinda similar, right? You do AoE and heal. It's a burst heal. It's less of a burst heal, but... more spammable, I suppose. Yeah, this buff... this probably makes Sap Essence also give the minor cowardice. Or buff the heal. Not sure what they could do here. Or maybe minor cowardice on the Power Extraction and Sap Essence could have the heal and just buff the damage to be the same as Power Extraction. That could work. And minor courage as well from Power Extraction. Siphoning Attacks. Now this one is... I think Darktail is better, personally. I think it's a better sustain skill. But they're very close, kinda depends on the build. What you want to do. But these are the best sustain skills in the game. Or well, you have Rune and Nets as well, but... those are also doing other things. Soul Siphon is the heal. It can be good as a heal. Don't think it's that great, but we do use it on the Nightblade healer, for example. It's good with, especially with the Soul Cleaver. As a cast time, you kind of have to build around that or play around that. But it's probably still low A tier as a healing ulti. Not sure. There's gonna be too many things in the A tier. Think of like defensive ultis that are worth more. I think the Warden ulti you can spam that more. The 3 ulti. Cast it more often. Has longer duration on the heal over time. Templar ulti is just also cheaper and lasts longer. You know, I think it's B tier. I don't think there's any A tier healing ultis, really. Tether. Tether's really good. Especially with the Soul Cleaver. But is it S tier good? I think it's like high A tier. Even with Soul Cleaver. I don't think it's S tier. The reason those builds are strong is not the ultimate. Like, ult is not even a big part of the bomb really nowadays. Why is this grayed out? I think the power of the Soul Cleaver builds is just the overall value you have on everything. Like when you're bombing, most of the damage is from Conti and the Rush of Agony usually. There is 40 the stun. I don't know. I don't know if I can put it S tier. I'll put it high A tier with Soul Cleaver. It is still really good. Would I change it? I would not change it. I think it's fine. Swallow Soul. Now this should be better. You run it on some Soul Cleaver builds. But I don't think it's more than B tier. Even though you want to run it as spammable. The only reason it's good is because of Soul Cleaver. If you didn't have Soul Cleaver, you would never slot this skill as a spammable. Like, damage is not worth it. Soul Cleaver makes it do same damage as Conceal, basically. With more travel time. And no off balance. I think they should buff the base damage of this skill. If you have Soul Cleaver, it should be like really hard hitting spammable. So you're buffing it further with your 5%. Buff the base damage and I think this skill is fine. Won't affect PvE because people don't really run it there. And that's Nightblade. That was a lot faster than I thought. Only like 1 hour of yapping this time around.